album quest.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't, just picking favorites. It's a huge undertaking, a quest to find the greatest album ever. Think of it like a World Cup, but for music albums.
Exactly. And it's all based on this really extensive review process from Green Starox's personal catalog. We're digging into that source material for you.
Our mission is basically to pull out the key insights from this whole system.
Yeah, and it's a real intellectual shortcut for you, the listener, because the method here is, well, it's pretty rigorous.
How does it actually work?
Okay, so albums get put into these random groups of 4. Then they're listened to back to back, sometimes, 3, maybe even 4 times through.
Wow. Okay, that's intense listening.
It is. And then they get ranked first down to 4th within that group.
And it's a knockout system, right? Like really cutthroat.
Absolutely. Only the top 2 albums from each group actually move on to the next round.
So the bottom 2 are just out.
Gone. Doesn't matter how famous or loved they are historically. It's all about how they hold up under this objective current day listen.
Right. So today we're focusing on round 1, specifically group 188.
Yeah.
And this was like a really eclectic mix, a gloriously mismatched group forcing completely different styles against each other.
Definitely. It makes for some interesting comparisons.
So who are the 4 contenders fighting for those 2 spots in round 2?
Okay, so in the ring for Group 188, we've got Older by George Michael.
Okay.
Then there's Charm School by Roxette.
Right.
Bad Hair Day from Weird Al Yankovic.
Ah, the comedy entry.
And rounding it out, What About Now by Bon Jovi.
Okay. Spanning quite a few genres and decades there.
Mm-hmm.
So where do we start? Who came out on top?
Well, let's start with the winner, because according to the source material, this one was pretty straightforward. Taking first place, advancing easily, is Roxette with Charm School.
Their 2011 album, right, after quite a long break for them.
That's the one. And yeah, the source was really clear this was an easy choice for number 1. It seems Roxette came back and just perfected the Roxette formula.
What is it about that album that made it stand out so much in this group?
Well, there's this really great sort of effortless, carefree vibe running through it. You hear it right from the start on the opener way out. Per Gessel does this fun little Elvis thing. And it just sets the tone. It's simple but effective, like on Speak to Me.
And Roxette, they're kind of known for doing 2 things really well, aren't they? The big ballads and the more upbeat pop rock stuff.
Exactly. That's their signature strength, pulling in those 2 directions. And on Charm School, they apparently nail both with equal skill. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel.
So masterful ballads alongside that contemporary electric pop rock sound.
Yep. And tracks like Dream On, Big Black Cadillac, or the big single She's Got Nothing On But the Radio.
Yeah.
The quality is just consistently high. It's almost like that decade-long break never happened.
It sounds like the key takeaway from Roxette winning is about consistency there.
Totally.
It seems like in this album quest, it's better to just be excellent at what you do, rather than maybe taking a big risk that doesn't pay off.
I think that's spot on. They deliver textbook Roxette excellence. And in this kind of competitive, repeated listening format, that consistency often wins out over, say, an album with amazing highs, but also some lows.
Which brings us nicely to the other end of the ranking, the album that finished 4th and is therefore eliminated.
Right. And that dubious honor goes to Weird Al Yankovic's Bad Hair Day.
Ouch. 4th place.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh, especially because the notes mention it was actually considered better than his next album, Straight Outta Linwood. And, it follows his tried and tested formula. Really well-produced parodies, some original comedy songs mixed with that bad parlor music thing he does.
But better than the next one wasn't enough here. Even though Bad Hair Day has, at least 2 absolutely iconic tracks, we have to talk about Amish Paradise.
Oh, yeah. A masterpiece of parody. Taking Coolio's Gangster Paradise and just flipping it so perfectly.
The way he delivers it so seriously makes the lines even funnier.
Totally. That contrast is brilliant.
Lines like, I ain't never punched a tourist, even if he deserved it.
Yeah. Or, tonight we're gonna party like it's 1699. Just golden.
And the other big one was Gump. Right? The parody of Lump by the presidents of the United States of America.
Yes. And the source praises that one for perfectly capturing the whole feel and pretty much all the key plot points of the Forrest Gump movie. It's really clever.
Okay, so here's my question then, based on the methodology. If an album has 2 tracks that are that good, that have genuinely lasted for decades, how does it still end up in 4th place?
That's a really good question.
Especially behind albums that, as we'll get to, the source admits have some cheesy moments. Does this repeated listening thing inherently work against comedy albums?
I think that's exactly the insight the reviewer landed on. Beyond those two amazing pseudo-covers, Amish Paradise and Gump, the rest of the album apparently just doesn't hold up under that intense, repeated scrutiny. Tracks like Callin' In Sick or I'm So Sick of You, they're funny, sure, but maybe only the first or second time.
Right. Their longevity is limited.
Exactly. Limited staying power, especially when you're listening right next to, say, the polished pop rock of Roxette or the, high-energy stuff from Bon Jovi.
So the issue wasn't the quality of the comedy necessarily, but its ability to sustain interest over multiple listens compared to the quote-unquote serious music.
Precisely. The highs were incredibly high, but the overall foundation wasn't consistent enough for this kind of competition. Comedy, once you know the punchline, can struggle to engage in the same way repeatedly. Consistency is king in the quest.
Okay, that makes sense. Which leads us to the real drama of Group 188, the fight for second place.
Ah, yes, the close call.
This is apparently a really tight battle, deciding who gets the final advancement spot. And it was between George Michael's Older and Bon Jovi's What About Now?
Yeah, this was where it got really interesting, according to the review. A clash of genre preference, maturity versus energy, maybe even structural consistency.
And the result was George Michael finishing third. So, eliminated.
Narrowly, yes. Older finished third. And to understand why, you really need the backstory of that album. It came out in 1996.
Right. This was his big comeback after that huge gap, wasn't it? Like 6 years off, mainly because of losing that massive court case against his record label.
The one he called Phony Records, yeah. That whole experience clearly had a massive impact on him and his music.
You can hear it on the album, right? It's very different from his earlier stuff.
Oh, completely. Older is much more, mature. It's darker, more serious, quite introspective. And musically, he leaned heavily into a sophisticated, kind of melancholic, jazz-influenced sound.
Even the big single, Fast Love, which was up-tempo.
Yeah, even that is described as this sort of complex dance-jazz hybrid. It's not straightforward pop at all.
And the quality was definitely there. The source mentions tracks like Spinning the Wheel, Jesus to a Child, Fast Love, the title track, Older, all rated as excellent.
No question, some absolutely brilliant songs in there.
But there was a fatal flaw noted, a dip in momentum. What does that mean, and why was it enough to cost him that second spot?
It really highlights how tough this back-to-back listening methodology is. The reviewer felt that towards the end of the album, the shift in tone, all those mature, quite complex, slower jazz passages, caused the overall engagement level to drop off quite a bit.
Right.
And when you're listening repeatedly to 4 albums in a row, any kind of structural drag like that, especially later on in an album, can really hurt its score.
So it wasn't that the slower songs were bad, just that their placement or maybe the sheer number of them broke the listening flow that the bigger singles had set up earlier.
That seems to be the critical point. It's a structural weakness in the context of this specific listening challenge.
Okay. Which makes the winner of that face-off. Bon Jovi's What About Now? Taking second place and moving on.
Yep. Bon Jovi sneaks through. And this result was noted as a bit of a surprise, actually.
How so?
Well, the source describes it as a highly competent melodic rock effort, which maybe doesn't sound earth-shattering, but apparently it was good enough to, briefly raise the bar for that whole genre.
A melodic rock.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one. It can be amazing, pure energy, or it can get really, really cheesy very quickly.
Well, yeah, it's a fine line. Pure amazeballs when it's right, as the source puts it, but yeah, super cheesy when it's wrong.
So What About Now mostly got it right?
Apparently so. Key tracks were singled out as excellent. Specifically, I'm With You, that one got a special mention for a sensational guitar solo from Richie Sambora.
Ah, classic Sambora.
And also Pictures of You was highlighted.
Okay, but if it was that competent, why only second place behind Roxette? And here's the challenge to the ruling. The source admits that 2 or 3 tracks on the Bon Jovi album do fall onto the cheesy side.
It does say that.
So why is Bon Jovi's predictable cheesy filler judged better than George Michael's mature, introspective, jazzy, slow passages? That seems subjective.
It absolutely is subjective, and that's a sharp point. I think the explanation comes down to the inherent energy of the genre.
Okay.
Bon Jovi's music, even the filler, is designed for high impact, for energy. So even when it gets a bit generic, the review mentions John doing his best Bruce Springsteen impression on What's Left of Me. It still maintains a certain level of aggressive competence. It's filler, but it's high energy filler.
Ah, I see. So the argument is that the generic Bon Jovi tracks didn't cause that structural drop in momentum or engagement. It was just a dip in originality, maybe.
That seems to be it, whereas George Michael's mature, slower stuff actually required more from the listener, maybe a shift in mood, creating a bit more listening fatigue in that competitive setting.
Bon Jovi just kept the energy levels up, even if the quality wasn't always top tier across the whole album.
Exactly right. The overall flow was sustained better. So while the quality wasn't perfect throughout, it was judged, a thoroughly decent album that just narrowly edged out George Michael's more serious artistic effort. Controversial, maybe, depending on your taste.
It definitely depends on what you value more in an album.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap up Group 188 then. A really fascinating mix and some tough calls.
For sure.
So the final standings. In first place, advancing easily with textbook consistency, Roxette's Charm School.
Check.
In second place, also advancing, thanks to high-energy, competent melodic rock, it's Bon Jovi's What About Now.
Got it.
Eliminated in third place, despite its brilliance, due to that late album momentum dip in this listening format, George Michael's Older.
A tough break for a great album.
And eliminated in fourth place, because its amazing highlights couldn't carry the less durable tracks over repeated listens. Weird Al Yankovic's Bad Hair Day.
Right.
So the big takeaway here for you, the listener, really seems to be about how consistency and, frankly, genre mechanics play out in this album quest.
Yeah, that tension between Bon Jovi and George Michael really highlights it. Competent, high-energy rock beat out a very artistic, mature, introspective album. The methodology rewarded sustained engagement above all else.
It forces you to think beyond just your favorite songs on an album, doesn't it?
Definitely. It pushes you to consider the album as a whole, singular experience. How does it flow? Does it keep you hooked all the way through, listen after listen? That's what determines survival here.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on after this album quest segment. Given that this process favors that long-term sustained engagement, what does that mean for artists who want to challenge their audience? Artists who intentionally shift genres or go really deep and introspective. Is there a risk that that kind of deviation, no matter how brilliant or mature it might be, gets penalized when it's put head-to-head against an album that just competently delivers exactly what you expect from that artist?
That's a great question. Does the quest inadvertently favor formula over artistic risk?
Something to think about as we move on to the next group in the album quest.